And great to welcome to the show today a man who's written so many of these great Joe Pickett novels. He's got another one coming out, the number 20 of the series, and this one is called Long Range. We're joined today by New York Times bestselling author C.J. Box on the telephone. I guess you're out in Wyoming, right, C.J.?
That's right. Yep, we've got a little ranch here. I'm calling from there.
I've never been out there. It looks great. When you see pictures and videos of it. How's the winter out there? I may want to wait till the summertime, huh?
Well, you might. Yeah, it's been a real winter, as we call it. I mean, we still have a lot of snow on the ground, but that's good because that means lots of snow in the mountains. That means lots of rivers, full rivers, and fishing for this summer. So,
that's it. Yeah,
it's been a real winter.
The snow has a benefit later on, right?
Absolutely, it does.
Well, first of all, congratulations not only on the current book, but 20 of any type of novel. That's pretty good. You must write quickly.
Well, it's about a book a year is how it works out. I never thought there would even be a second Joe Pickett novel, but it's worked out over the years, and it's a great job, and I enjoy it.
And again, for people that are not aware, haven't been with us before, Joe Pickett is a Wyoming game warden, and he gets involved in these kind of thrilling mysteries and crimes and things like that, right?
That's right. Yeah, game wardens in Wyoming are different than a lot of conservation officers or other kind of game wardens around the country, in that Wyoming game wardens have huge districts up to 5,000 square miles. They're very heavily armed. They're out in the field by themselves, usually without backup. And they do, because the population is so low and it's so sparse, game wardens are often called on to assist with other law enforcement in other crimes and investigations in real life, and I have that in the books as well. So they're not just out ticketing fishermen without licenses. They're sometimes involved in kidnappings and murder investigations and all kinds of things. So Joe Pickett, the character I write about, is often involved in investigations that aren't necessarily game and fish related.
And the first one was, like you mentioned, about a book a year. So I guess 2001 with Open Season was the first time you wrote about him. And of course, this is number 20. Again, for people not aware, how'd you come up with the character originally?
Well, I never thought the world was just waiting for a Wyoming game warden series. That's one thing. But I like to write about issues and controversies and real things that are going on in the ground and in the area. So all of the books involve not only natural resource issues and environmental themes, but also technology and new law enforcement methods. And I've kind of kept that formula going over the years, and all of the books occur in real time, meaning Joe Pickett is 20 years older than he was when the books began. His family has grown up and moved out. Characters have developed and changed, and so that, I think the fact that they happen in real time keeps them kind of fresh, at least in my mind, because the situation changes a little bit from year to year.
Yeah, for the people that have read all the books, they can it's almost like a soap opera in a sense, right? They probably know Joe's family and what goes on pretty intimately after a while, right?
They do. They say a lot of the readers, it seems like, know the characters better than I do. And they've grown up with them. And they continue to evolve and change, and just like real life. And I think that because of those changes and adaptations, it keeps it fresh.
Again, I don't like to give away too much when I talk to you folks who write these great novels, but this one, the story involves a shooter, right? And it's a local judge that gets killed, and that kind of the start of the story, right?
Well, actually, the very first chapter, it's not a spoiler, but it's told from the point of view of a bullet as it emerges from a rifle muzzle. Mm-hmm. And as the bullet travels, seconds go past. The bullet goes over hayfields and rivers and finally hones in on a wealthy home through the front picture window towards this judge who's eating his dinner, who happens to drop a fork just at that moment. He bends over to pick it up, and the bullet hits his wife. So he's targeted, but his wife is hit. And one of the many themes in the books is that there's a huge pool of suspects out there who want this judge dead, and Joe's job is to reinvestigate a lot of the cases he's been involved in, and the suspects he's put in prison who might not now be out or have been somehow behind the shooting.
He's the hanging judge. He's not a well-liked man, this judge, right?
not by the people he's put in prison, that's for sure. And most of the attorneys who appear in his courtroom.
When you, again, write the plot for this particular book, and again, like I said, the characters change over the years, I guess it kind of based on you a little bit, right? You've changed a little bit, obviously, as a writer, so different kind of plot structure, I guess, from the first one?
A little. The elements, all the same elements, kind of continue on in that there's usually a current issue or controversy or environmental dilemma, as well as an investigation, as well as Joe Pickett kind of bumbling his way through some of them. So there's that kind of continuity throughout. But yeah, 20 years, people change. Joe Pickett was very naive in the first few books, trusted everybody. He's got a little harder bark on him over the years, but still is the same basic guy.
And technology, you also kind of feature in your books as well, right? You're kind of known for that.
That's right. Yeah, in the first few books, cell phones didn't exist. And now, of course, there's a lot of technology and a lot of different aspects of law enforcement that use technology, but there still are huge swaths of wilderness and territory in the West where there's no signals, and that high-tech stuff sometimes doesn't work.
Yeah, I noticed that when I go out even to Las Vegas. The cell phone doesn't work as well out west as it does back east.
That's right. Radio-free Wyoming, yeah.
That's it. Well, again, the character, like you said, based, I guess, somewhat on you, right? Most novelists base some of the character on themselves. So how much of it is you, or how much is it that you wanted to be, maybe growing up, to be this kind of character?
Well, I mean, I think you have to use real-life experiences and observations, and I'm a Wyoming guy, grew up in Wyoming, had 3 daughters, was a state employee for a while, and I'm a hunter and a fisherman, so I've always been involved with game wardens and the issues, so I bring those all into the books, but Joe Pickett is certainly a unique character and not necessarily based on me.
Do you like the dialogue part of it? I know a lot of novelists, some really love it, some others maybe not as much, but do you enjoy that part of it, the dialogue?
I do. I think, a mentor of mine over the years is Elmore Leonard, who is the master of dialogue and could tell a story, basically from the point of view of the characters and not telling the reader what's going on. And that's a real skill, and I think if it's done right, it really enhances books.
That's really the trick of a good mystery, right? To tell a story, but you got to leave something there for the last 5 pages, don't you? Keep the reader going.
That's right.
Yeah.
Or have characters say certain things that a reader might pick up on that the characters in the books don't, that might point toward the ending or point a different direction.
Yeah, well, you've obviously discovered that trick, or you have that skill, because number 20, that's a great accomplishment. This one is called, again, Long Range, the 20th Joe Pickett novel, and we've been talking with C.J. Box today. And C.J., give out your website once again, or any information on the book people could have here.
Sure, my website is cjbox.net. It has a lot of information on the books, as well as the upcoming book tour across the U.S., so I invite people to visit that.
Great. If you ever come down to Florida, please let us know. Love to meet you in person, but thanks for being with us, and I'm sure we'll talk to you again in about a year, right?
I hope so. Thank you very much.
I'm Stan Brock. 30 years ago, I formed Remote Area Medical to help people overseas. But then we found generations of families in America isolated by poverty from the health care they need. Together, we can take dental, vision, and medical help to 1 million adults and their kids, right here at home in the United States of America.